Good evening. It's Wendy. This is painting 7, Going Home in my Dream series. It's a series of paintings that are reminiscent of the walks that my husband and I used to take when we were first together. And he passed away this past spring, so I'm just sort of processing all those emotions into my art and talking to whoever's willing to listen. Really, just getting myself to air things out, and I'm painting. With occasionally you'll see little cats running around. I got 3 of them here. That's little girl over there to the side. But I have Potato, which is Calico, and one black and white tuxedo that's number 7. And then there's a little tiny tabby with white markings. That's little girl. And she's little girl because we didn't initially intend to keep her, but we were looking for a home, but then it took too long and we fell in love with her. Quite frankly, it's fitting because she is so tiny compared to the other 2. And adorable and nice. They all are. We're a little bit crazy, so they crash into things and cause trouble, but that's okay. They keep you, they remind you to keep on your toes. But this painting is us, after walking, around town all night. We used to walk for hours, hang out, find places to sit, talk, sometimes go out to eat, or, it just depend what we were doing. We just were hanging out and talking and being together. And so this is, no different than those, but, it's going home. I do intend to continue doing paintings of my husband, but these were originally inspired. The reason they're called Dream was because I had a dream when he was first diagnosed with cancer that brought me back to that time, and all these images were part of that dream, even though they were straight out of my memory as well. It's it was just a memory to hold on to. And so now that's what I'm doing. I'm sort of bringing my memories, my little bits of our life to life in paint. I believe you get something a little different from painting something than just looking at photographs. And it's definitely the process and all that sort of stuff is very therapeutic for me. I find it healing. It's a good place for me to sort of get into and sort of process things and really get into a zone. And I think that's important. I do think it's important to work on my mental health, and part of that, I think meditating every day is a good thing. And I'm having trouble getting myself, I'll go through sort of phases and do it. I would really like to make it where I was really doing a good meditation session apart from just painting. But until I do that all the time, that's one of the places that I don't even have to think about it. I just get into the zone and I paint, which is why I don't talk when I'm actually painting, because I don't want to be thinking about anything else. I don't want to. I want to just paint and let myself have that time. And so this whole thing, doing the painting part and even the talking, I feel all of them have a healing component that is helping me sort of acclimate to this new phase of my life, and to figure out, where I am and who I am without my husband. You're together with someone for so long, it's hard, and it's it's hard to know where to even begin. And so I'm just, you're so used to considering someone when you're in a relationship, they're part of your life. And so when you make decisions, of course they come into play, right? Just like when you have kids and you have to make decisions on how you're going to spend your money, it's going to affect you, how that goes, or how you're going to spend your time. All those things are affected by your responsibilities and the people you love and the people you care for, and just the people you spend time with. All those things are affected, and I just not sure exactly where I'm going from this point in time, and I feel lost, but not at the same time. So I feel like I sort of put certain things on hiatus, while particularly this last year, as we went through palliative care, and then ultimately hospice. But really only the last couple weeks was hospice. He held on to the bitter end. He wanted to live, and he got a lot. He got to see a lot of things and accomplish things, even in those last few years. When he first was diagnosed, we had one grandchild, and before he passed, we had 6 grandchildren. And that was in 3 years. Now, the second child was born actually when he was in the hospital, when he was diagnosed originally a little over 3 years ago. And it was a blessing. We had gotten this horrible news, but to get this beautiful grandchild that same time, it was something that we both appreciated and we held on to. And it's a great gift, and he still is. All of our grandbabies, we treasure. And we feel, lucky to have them. And I feel lucky that I got to share that with him. You have in your head, at least I did, that you want to grow old with someone. And I feel like I barely got a chance to do that. That we still, had time, but obviously we didn't. And so I miss him tremendously. And sometimes it's just little things, being able to ask him questions about stuff. Like earlier today, I was going to ask him a question about this truck that that he used to have, and I couldn't ask him because he's not here. And that information, that stuff you want to ask, is gone. At least gone in the sense where I can access it, or that I know how to access it. I would like to think that you'd find some sort of I don't know, where you could find a good meditative space where you could commune with the people that have already passed. But I'm sure there's good reasons why that's not common. And you don't want to get stuck on just trying to, I mean, I don't know. It's important to live. It's important to go out there and do things that you want to do and realize how much life has to hold for you. And if you want to accomplish things, get out there and do them. Don't hold out. Right? If you want to do something, go do it. And I understand that's easier said than done. But you can, you know, just like me choosing these paintings to start with, I have so many things in my head, but these were the ones that were at the forefront. And I said, okay, let's just start with these. And I'm going to go from there. And we'll see where it grows. But the fact that I only really started this is, I think, my third week. And I have, because I believe I started after the mid-July. And I'll have 7 paintings. This is the 7th one that I'm working on right now. And we'll see how many sessions it takes. It usually takes me between 2 and 3. Depends how long I choose to paint. I'm pushing myself to paint to get this. It's, like I said, I think it's good for my mental health. And sometimes you have to make yourself to get into it. But once you do, you start painting. And the same with this. So it's good. The first day, I just, if I need to sketch something out, I'll sketch it out. Or I want to, because I want to sort of figure some things out. But then I'll just sort of block in basic colors. And, or sometimes I go longer than that. It just depends on what's happening. But I find if I do that, it allows me to so start the next day fresh. And it really depends on how long I paint. This time, I was just over 30 minutes. It was like 31 minutes or something, 32 minutes. And like I said, it just varies. But if these videos are too long, or you're like, I do not want to listen to her ramble on, but you want to watch the painting, 2 things. You can turn me on mute and put on music, or do whatever you want to do and just watch the painting. Or I will, at the end, when I have all the parts together, I will piece them together into one video. And I'll sort of speed it up. And you can watch it, like that. So, and then I'll do a even faster one. That's usually, I don't know, about 10 minutes or something. I think the one I did for the last painting was like 7 minutes. It really just depends on how long it took me to do the painting. I want to speed it up, but I don't want to speed it like so fast, just so people want to see a little bit more of the process. Because you go to the minute speed or the minute and a half in the shorts, and that goes super fast, and it's hard to sort of catch things. But if you want to watch it sort of, fast and not have to listen to something, I will put both those together when this is done. And it'll, I'll do the next session tomorrow. And I could finish tomorrow. Quite possibly I could. And if I finish tomorrow, then I'll get that out. Either tomorrow night or the next morning. Because I work best in the middle of the night. It's like 12:30 at night right now. And I just find it better once it's just quiet, the house is quiet, except for the kittens who are running around like little maniacs. And I can just sort of not worry about phones ringing, not worry about just the disturbance of daylight and just life going on, and I could just get into doing painting. Sort of, more natural for me to get in there and do that. And that's, sort of where I'm at the moment. But I'm just trying to encourage myself to accomplish things that I want to accomplish, things that I've held off. And I spent a good portion of time, painting things for other people, to whatever. And I think it's important for me to work on things that I want to paint, and not doing it because I have an art fair I gotta go to, or I'm teaching people, or this person needs this commission done. It messes with you. It's kind of a weird thing, and right now I'm just real not. I have more difficulty with it. It's I'm finding that much more stressful to deal with, trying to do that kind of painting at the moment, when I've spent, like I said, a good portion of my adult life doing that. Painting commissions, doing stuff that is in the eye of who wants it done. And I just a lot of times work better not that way. It just puts, like, I did 2 animal portraits, and I'm stressed out about them. I've done so many of those I can't even begin to tell you. So it had nothing to do with, in my head, whether or not I thought I could accomplish it, right? It was a matter of getting in the right mindset to accomplish it. It was a dog in one, it was a cat in the other. And the cat went well. It was a slightly better picture. And they only had 1 picture each of these animals. And that happens. Animals are passed away. They don't have any other, thing. And all they have is 1 picture. And that's what you have to work on. And so I'm working on these. And like I said, it took me a while to even get started. And, it's really something that I could do in one day. Both of them, right? If I just set my mind to it and do it. But still, I don't like to stress myself out like that, because I think it's good to give your brain a break. So usually, like I said, even doing those, I'll do so much, right? Blocking things, the basic stuff, get it in there, and then I'll put it away, and then I'll look at it the next day, and I'll start over, and my brain is, sort of can look at it a little bit more objectively at that point in time, and I can start. But sometimes if you push yourself too much, you have the wrong approach, and that's where I was. So I was to the point where I was doing the dog, and I knew the proportions were off. I could see it. But sometimes in your head, you're like, oh, I can fix this. I can fix it. And I could have just sat there and tweaked it until it fixed it. But really, sometimes there's a point where just stepping away from your painting and looking at it isn't going to fix it, okay? And you can come to the grips with that, and sometimes it's just better to paint over it and start over, right? Like sort of erasing a chalkboard. If you go up on a chalkboard and trying to write, and everybody's been writing on it all day, and there's smears, it's dirty, it's all that kind of stuff, and it can be harder to read what you write on the chalkboard. But if you just take it, wipe the whole chalkboard down, let it dry, it's all clean, and then take the chalk and try to write something on it, it's going to be a lot more clear. So it's the same thing with your brain. You're just going to go in there and just give yourself a break. But it is, even though sometimes all you need is to take time away from your painting, sometimes even if you take time away from your painting, it's still, it's off, right? And don't lie to yourself, because I kept doing that, and it wasn't actually, the funny thing was, I was I was getting ready to carry it into the other room to show my daughters, because they're pretty good at, if I go and they're all very artistic too, and I was going to show two of my daughters. All my daughters are grown, so but two of my daughters live with me, and one's going through a divorce, and one she never left. She's here, which is awesome. But anyway, that's beside the point. I was going to bring it in to show them, but on the way in, I turned into the bathroom to grab something, and I passed by the mirror with the painting in my hands. And when I looked in the mirror, of course, it switches the image, which makes it seem off anyway. But it just looked like that dog looked like a demon. It just looked horrible. I was like, I am not giving that person a zombie dog. Okay, so I just knew at that point in time I had to just do that. But even after that, though, I brought it in, showed my daughters, and I said, I'm showing you this, but I've already decided I'm repainting it. And they looked at it and they agreed. They'll tell me, they'll be straight, I'd rather them be straight and tell me than not. Because then I can trust it, and I can, when they do say, hey, yeah, that's cool, then I'll know that they mean it. They're not just saying it to be nice or whatever. And I think that's important, because they can do the same thing with me. I'll talk to them as well when they work on stuff. Not everybody wants to hear that, but criticism could be hard to take. But with them, we work pretty well together and can look at stuff objectively and point out things. We're nice about it. We're not, it depends on our mood. We can be tease each other pretty hard sometimes. We're in the right mindset. But most of the time we're just straightforward. This is it, blah, 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 blah. And it's important. I think critiquing other people's artwork can also help you do better in your artwork as well. So if you have friends and other artists, like I like painting with other people, because it's helpful. You can help them, they can help you, and you can work together. It's just fun. Not always. Sometimes painting is a very solitary thing, but it's a different aspect, painting with people. And I think it can be a good practice, and also that to get used to painting other places, because if you get used to it, then the distractions of life, if you're just used to complete whatever silence, it can be hard to get in that creative mindset, even in your own safe space, if things are just off. But if you keep pushing that boundary and doing things, go out, paint around other people, do things, it will get easier. I've talked before about how if you just want to play around with painting, do pieces and just don't show them. Get up a paint journal or a drawing journal and paint in it. Don't show anybody. Tuck it under your mattress if you want. Don't have to show anybody. But at some point in time, you might look at that stuff and go, hey. And you'll look at where you were in the beginning and where you are at the end, because no matter what, if you paint one apple, great. You paint 100 apples, that 100 apple will be better, right? You'll have a better idea of when you'll hone your skills. And everybody's is different. So that's another thing. People are always trying to put restrictions on things and tell people to do things a certain way. Like I was watching I don't know, it was a TikTok or some video, right? And it was an artist doing a video, and they were saying they go around, I guess, doing watercolors, but they use ink pens, and they're like, oh, well, they told the person that's not real watercolor. Well, you know what it is? It's real art, okay? And it's using watercolors, but it's using watercolors with ink pen as well. So that is just mixed media. So it's still watercolors. It's just stop being a freaking purist. Get over it. That's fine. He wasn't saying he wasn't hiding the fact that he was using a pen. You can use whatever you need to use, and people should just be a little less critical about that sort of thing. It's important, I think, if you feel like compelled to create things, to do that. It's a great way to process life and work with your own emotions and get things out that are hard to say with words, right? But sometimes it's just you want to get out and do something creative. It could be photography, it could be poetry. Just push yourself beyond what make yourself a little uncomfortable and push those boundaries all the time. And the more you do that, you will get better at your craft for sure. It's true. Play with colors. Play with, different mediums, and just mess around with it. See what there is. You can do almost anything there. You have a box of crayons and old envelopes, right? There's so many things that you can use. You don't have to spend tons of money. It doesn't have to be expensive equipment. There's so many options out there. You could use cardboard, right, to paint on. You might want to prime it first, but you don't have to. It's just there's so much cardboard out there right now with all the packages, and even if you're not someone who orders stuff from Amazon, I almost guarantee you know people who do, and they're not saving their boxes, they're recycling them. But you could use them. You could use them as panels for art. Van Gogh, when he didn't have enough canvases, he painted on tea towels, right? So this is not a new thing. There are so many things that you can do to draw and paint and create things. It doesn't have to be purchased or really expensive. It's part of the creating thing. People paint things using coffee or other kind of things that stain things. There's just so many options out there for you to accomplish those things, if that's something that you feel compelled to do. And music too. I am not musically inclined. I love music, but it's not like I make the effort to make it happen. When I was younger, I took piano and I could play some basic, whatever, but every once in a while I think about it, because it's supposed to be good against dementia. So you never know, I might dive back into it. But it's the same thing. You just got to put those times in. You got to get your 10,000 hours in. And I know it sounds like a lot, but don't think about the 10,000 hours. Just start with the 5 minutes, here and there. And if you enjoy it and it stays with you, it'll grow. But you gotta push that. Yeah, so I'm in the picture here. I'm almost at the end of part 1, and then like I said, I let that sit, and it dries really fast. It's already tucked away, And I just finished it right before I started recording this. So I'm trying to be more, get things done about certain things. Of course, I'm avoiding other things that I need to get done, which I need to push myself on. But we all have, gotta work on what you can work on. And this is what I'm doing at the moment. I'll try to push myself on that other stuff as well, but not always easy. Anyway, you guys have a great night. Take care.